Hey, this is Willie Cartwright with from Save to Sane. Glad to have you here with us today. It is June, and I am normally not here, but as I said before, as I said the last time were on, that I was going to continue and not take my normal um, summer break. Although I'm not sure if I'm going to do every other week like I normally do, but I'm going to do at a minimum. I'm going to do most of the summer around any vacations or trips that my wife and I may take. So I said that to say that I am glad to be with you guys here today. One of the reasons, and I talked about this again a few weeks ago. This is part of what I'm doing now on a full time basis. And so I will be doing this on a regular basis. I won't be taking the same break that I normally take because this is something that I love, enjoy doing, and continue to do for a while. I've added some other podcasts or social media type things that I enjoy, completely different topics, off topic. So I'm going to be into this YouTube podcasting thing for the foreseeable future. But I'm glad to have you all with us here today. Today, this is Save to Sane, and I am Willie. Again, we're happy to have you. Those of you who are joining us from the East Coast, it is what 7 o'clock there. Those of you who are out west, as I am, as I have been for the last almost 2 years, it is 4 o'clock our time, and everybody in between. And those of you who are picking this up outside of the states, we certainly appreciate you here. Those of you who are joining us live right now with us, please. You are welcome to submit comments and then we can discuss those comments, please. Good, bad, indifferent. It makes for a great podcast. You don't have to agree with me, absolutely not. Um, and I welcome those who disagree. Just make sure that you have something substantive as a defense for disagreeing, so we can have an intellectual dialogue on here. And so appreciate that. Amanda, what is going on? Glad to see Amanda here. Amanda, glad to have you. I am good. Where are you, Amanda? What part of the country are you in, or are you out of the states? So we're glad to have you here. For the rest of you, again, I said thank you and thank you for joining us. And take the time to like this or share it with friends. If you haven't subscribed, you should be. Please do subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your enemies to subscribe. We just need subbies, real people. I'm not going the non-organic route. I'm not paying for subbies or that kind of thing. All of my subs are organic, real people, and I certainly appreciate that, along with all of the comments that you guys make. And so we're here today, June the 3rd. You are in Amanda's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but you're from Durham, North Carolina. Okay, I had my wife's uncle spent considerable time in Minneapolis, and he loved it. We have neighbors here in the Vegas area. We're actually in Henderson, who love that area too. But I think it's too cold. It would be too cold for me. You said I can't wait to get back to the South. We're gonna touch on that in just a minute. Amanda, I moved away from Atlanta and was born in Alabama, raised in Alabama, but I moved away from Atlanta a couple of years ago, and I am, they said never say never, but if it's within my power and my will, I will never go back down south. I wouldn't go to Minneapolis, too cold, but I'm certainly not going back down south. And we're going to address some of that because it is indirectly related to some of the things that we talk about. Scottsdale is beautiful. Scottsdale is absolutely beautiful. We actually went 1 year. It was New Year's, and it was about 90 degrees. So if you're not a fan of the heat, Arizona is certainly not the place for you. But it is Scottsdale is beautiful, and you got to have some money to pay to live in Scottsdale. Like I said, it was 90 degrees. We were there for New Year's, so those of you who are not familiar, that's kind of how Arizona rolls. A tad bit different than here in the Vegas area, Nevada, the state. I hear that my understanding is that because I haven't spent a lot of time in Arizona, I've been a couple of times, but I hear that the difference is that the air doesn't move in Arizona, but it's kind of circulates here. And so it tends to feel a lot hotter in Arizona than here, but both places are extremely warm, especially this time of year. I think it's 104 today. It's up and inside, but it's good. Yeah, thank you. You said you was here when you. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we are enjoying ourselves here. But we're gonna talk a little bit about the South because I have some stuff that's indirectly related. Um, yeah, I attended an HBCU, and so I try to get back every 5 years now. So yeah, I do miss that. I do miss some of the SEC football. I get some of it here, but I do miss it. But I can get it. So yeah, but the things that I miss is not for me. It's not worth me going moving back down south. Uh, but yeah, but anyway, today, interesting topic. We're going to talk about people from the Bible who never existed, and so I think that this is important. And before I get to that, let me do what I normally do and say thank you to a couple of people. Taisha Essick. I always say thank you to her because she's instrumental in getting us started with this channel, and certainly appreciate her. And certainly my wife, who is 100% supportive of me and always been with this. And we have some of the most interesting conversations, given where she falls on the spiritual religious spectrum and where I fall. And so we have really interesting conversations. I've mentioned before, she's not a Christian anymore. She sort of deconverted at the same time I did, but she considers herself to be spiritual in a completely different way. She's been into the Eastern philosophies and some of the Eastern religious practices for a while. She find those to be intriguing to her and more fitting of who she is, and I certainly agree. Um, so yeah, so we have great conversations. So my wife is very supportive of the channel and the things that I do here, and so I'm always thankful to her for that. I don't have my book in front of me to promote it, but from Saved to Sane, um, my journey away from Christianity and why Christianity has been detrimental to the African American community. You can pick that book up on Amazon. You can send me a message. I can send you a signed copy. $19.99 is the copy of the book. I'm working on another book that probably should come out the first of the year. If I work like I'm supposed to work, so we'll see. But I'm shooting for at minimum the end of the first quarter next year to get that book out, have that book out. And so that book is a little different. It is tentatively right now what we're looking at is a merger of um, the process of deconverting and how that deconversion or deconverting can lead to a more fulfilled and a more abundant life because you're sort of breaking the chain things that typically some of the things that hold us back from living off a full fulfilled full authentic self. One of the things that I learned in my transition, my deconversion, was that I was holding on to certain ideologies that were I thought were related to the Bible and my teachings, religion, some thoughts. And by challenging the one thing that for most of us, especially African Americans, especially those of us who grew up in the church, by challenging the one thing that we never challenge, which is our faith, um, it enabled me to be able to challenge other parts, other aspects of my life. And so I was able to come into complete, what I believe is complete fulfillment of my life and living authentically every which way possible. And so that is in general what the book is about. And so we talk about that. But yeah, so we do that. So today's topic, again, people from the Bible who never existed. So how did I come up with that topic? Well, I'm always looking for ways, uh, substantive ways to speak with people about their faith. I have evolved from a more argumentative style and a more in-your-face style to a more substantive. Here's some evidence. Here's some information. You take a look at it. Tell me what you think. Sort of making people think. And part of that is that I've had people to read my book. I've had people to listen to me engage in presentations and speak on this topic. And surprisingly, in those formats, in those settings, people would tend to come away with having a more moderate respect for what I'm trying to say. It doesn't come off as antagonistic. If you read the book, if you see me present, especially in an academic setting, it is not an antagonistic back and forth. And so people come to me and say, I think what you're doing, what you've done for me, and this is them speaking, is that you made me think. And at the end of the day, that's all that we can hope to do. And secondly, B, that is a much better approach that I've learned over the 10 plus years, 11 years now that I have since I've deconverted. And so that is an attempt at me being a more gentler Willie when it comes to this topic. And so this is an exercise in doing that, in presenting some facts here that I hope will cause people to do the research on their own, ask the questions, and some of this stuff is foundational to the religion itself, religion being Christianity and in part Islam and Judaism. But hopefully it will cause people to do some research and really think about it. Let's see what we got. Last thing I'm going to say, you understand about me not going back to the South. I'm not wanting to go back to the South if I can all help it. Evelyn, what's going on? Evelyn Paula, 1747. There are some African channels where people call in and tell their experience with the supernatural or witchcraft. I am skeptical of the stories. Yeah, that's thank you for the comment. Let me you know what? I don't know where I don't know where I fall on that. My wife and I we do talk about this stuff a lot. She is a believer in that there is something else out there. Not in the not the way we define as God, but even something supernatural beyond us, right? Beyond the natural, as they say. I am still I don't I can't say that there isn't anything. We know way too little about any and everything. There is way too much space stuff out there that we cannot feel, see, experience with our senses. And so I won't say that there isn't anything out there. However, I do think that there is a lot of fraud, a lot of people making things up, or people, even if they think it's real, that it's a figment of their imagination when it comes to a lot of these stories. So I think that there is both. And so, like you, I am skeptical of when I am very skeptical of when I see or hear most people engaged in a lot of this stuff. But that's not to say that it doesn't exist. So yeah, so I guess I'm kind of with you. Witchcraft for me, because I've had in-depth conversations with people who fashion themselves as witches. I've done some research, some study on it, and so witchcraft is a very broad term. And so there are people that span the spectrum of witchcraft. I've met witches, and I guess I've met the good witches. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of mythical things around witch and what we've learned as young people growing up when they talk about witches. And so, oh look, Taisha, hold on, let me. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm just looking at the notes. Give me just a second. So yeah, so I'm a little skeptical of that myself. And let's see, what did we leave off here? So yeah, I agree with you. Amanda said, you do an awesome job, or I wouldn't be here. Thank you so much. I still appreciate that. I love you guys for being here and supporting me. It's been almost 5 years now, I think. Yep. Texas Goddess, what's going on? Glad to see you. Amanda again said hello. Amanda said hello to Texas Goddess. Amanda said way too much. I guess we're talking about way too much of these people with the supernatural stuff and all of that. So Taisha, I just mentioned you. Glad to have you here. Listen, I am a bad person because every 2 weeks I come on here and said thank you to you, Taisha. I always say I need to check on her to see how she's doing, her and the family, and I never get around to it. So I certainly apologize, but I'm glad to see that you are here. Guys, this is Taisha. When I mentioned Taisha Essig and I talk about her being instrumental in us starting this channel, this is who I'm talking about. I'm speaking of. She has some fantastic channels. I don't know if she's still doing it because I haven't seen anything lately, but I noticed she has some incredible material out there. So I ask you all to support her. She talks about a plethora of things. And so it is so good to have you on here. Amanda said, Ty, yeah, good. Yep. Tay said, yes, I'm finally having a hot meal and a great topic on S2S. Thank you. Tay also says, just shared with 2 other people. We're doing great. Think about visiting your area soon. Yeah, come on out here to Vegas. It's, Taisha, people warned me that when you move to Vegas, that people who you normally don't see will come to Vegas. And so we've lost count of the number of people, number of our friends that have come to Vegas that we didn't see for a year or 2 or more prior to moving here. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to hook up with a guy last night who was here for a business conference, and then he got sort of tied up, and so we didn't get a chance to hook up. But yeah, so it'll be fantastic. You and the husband come out here, and we can hang out. You and Salima, and so we can all hang out. That'd be awesome. So yeah, Amanda said go to her page. To her videos are informative and hilarious. Listen, I couldn't have said it any better, Amanda. They are informative and hilarious. And if you're not careful, she might step on your toes. So she is a no nonsense. She don't care about your feelings, even more than me. So, but we're glad. So let me get into this. I'm so happy to have Taisha here, but let me get into this. And so yeah, so we talk about these characters, and I want people to think, to use their brain. And so let me just kind of run down a list of characters. And this is when I say that these characters don't exist. I'm talking about archaeological, objective evidence of these characters, from biblical scholars, historians, people with PhDs and advanced degrees that study this stuff for a living, archaeologists, anthropologists, scientists, anybody in this field that study this stuff for a living. They have been unable to find objective evidence of the existence of these individuals. Even to a point where some of them, they actually found evidence that these people did not exist. And so I'm just going to run down a few of the names, and some of these names, as I said earlier, are instrumental to the very foundation of these religions. And when I say these, I'm talking about Islam and Judaism. So so you have the fictional characters, who are strictly fictional, sort of made up, and then you have fictional characters that were embedded into historical settings, right? And so we're talking about both, but in both cases, there is no evidence that these characters, these individuals, ever existed. And then I have a list of some verified characters, and we'll talk about the difference and why that's important. But for right now, characters who did not exist, and there's no evidence that they ever existed: Adam and Eve, Nimrod, Samson, Job, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, are just a few. And so let's touch on a few of those and why that's important. Nimrod, we talk about the Tower of Babel. Supposedly, a lot of people like to say that we talk in different languages because the people back then were building a tower that was supposed to be able to reach heaven, and God got angry, and he destroyed the tower, and he caused all the individuals to start speaking different languages. Now, if that doesn't sound like mythology, then I don't know what does sound like mythology. But supposedly there's a lot of Christians who, and supposedly otherwise, supposedly intelligent people who believe this stuff. We know the story of Samson, supposed to be superhuman strength. Delilah had his hair cut. He lost all his strength. Again, this stuff reads like Harry Potter, right? Mythical stuff. Job is one of my favorite stories. Oh yeah. Oh, Taisha, absolutely. I'm saving that for last. I am saving that for last. Yeah, absolutely, Amanda. The speaking in tongue thing, that's from the Tower of Babel and Nimrod and all of that. Job is one of my favorite stories. So I think what early on when I first, even probably before I fully left Christianity, Job is one of these stories that make me like scratch my head, like, wait a minute, what? And so those of you who are not familiar with the story of Job, so Job was this wealthy man that had a wife and several kids and all kind of farm animals. I mean, so back then he was considered rich. And so I, I'm laughing because I always say that God and the devil had a bet, and Christians get so angry with me. I said this is all the result of a bet between God and the devil. But how the story goes, and this is sort of paraphrase. Those of you may be familiar with it. The rest of you can read this in the Bible. But the devil was like, yo, God, let me tell you something. Your man Job, and I'm speaking like this on purpose because this is kind of how I envision the conversation going, right? Yo, God, your man Job, he's not that loyal to you. I'm telling you, blah, blah, blah. If bad things were starting to happen to him, he would leave you in a split minute, but you think that this is your man, right? God is like, nah, that's my man. He ain't going nowhere. No matter what happens to him, he's not going anywhere. And so the devil's like, oh, bet? You care to bet on it? God's like, yeah, what you got? So the devil said, I tell you what, allow me to do anything I want to him, his family, livestock, animals, all of that. And we'll see what happens. And so God's like, yeah, you can do everything you want to except, kill him or whatever, right? So the devil proceeds to kill all of his kids, kill all of his livestock. What did the livestock do, right? What did the kids do? And these are either kids or adults or whatever. But anyway, the devil just takes everybody out except Job and his wife. After a while, the wife is like, yo, I'm tired of this bull. Job, you need to curse God and die, right? And Job is like, no, I'm staying. And eventually, as the story goes, Job is still faithful, and God rewards him with additional livestock and family. And so when you talk to Christians about this story, the one thing that I hear the most, which is aggravating as hell to me, is, God gave him back what he had plus some. The last time I had a conversation with somebody about this, and they said that very thing to me, this is what I said to them. I said, I don't know about you, but my loved ones are not replaceable. My loved ones are not like a piece of furniture that I can go down to IKEA or Walmart and pick up another one, right? My sister, my niece, my nephew, my mother at the time, whatever, my wife, they're not replaceable. Human beings are not replaceable, right? And so that is one of the most ludicrous and asinine response to this story that I've ever heard in my life. But Christians, they do mental gymnastics to try to make this shit make sense to them. And it's crazy the lengths that they would go to make this stuff make sense. And so I just always find Job to be an hilarious story from the standpoint of what Christians would do to try to make this stuff make sense to them. Amanda said, and the devil won. The devil took out everybody. I mean, everybody, everything that Job, the devil took it out. And God did not punish the devil for it. So what does that tell you? Amanda said the entire family, everybody except the wife. I don't remember the wife. I just remember the wife saying, curse Job and die. I mean, curse God and die. But yeah, but everybody else you took out. Taisha said you can't replace my family. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Mental gymnastics is what I call it when they are. We the same thing when we talk about slavery in the Bible. Christians would do mental gymnastics to make this stuff make sense. They'll come up with all kind of stuff, lies, and I'm quick to correct them about that kind of stuff. And so yeah, so Job is one of those characters. So Job did not exist. I am happy that is the case because it's just I guess it makes a difference to me, but I guess the Christians it don't. Those Christians who are smart enough to understand that this story is asinine at best will quickly say that this is a metaphor, and it tells a story and it talks about how you should always trust in God no matter what. And again, to me, that's stupid. But that's what they have to lean on because they can't come up with anything better that makes more sense. Um, OMG, Amanda said, OMG, I was just saying this last night to a friend. Sacred people and things cannot be replaced. That's how you know the Bible isn't sacred. Absolutely, you can't. I don't care what my wife is awesome, one of the best, probably not one of the best, the best person that I know, and my sister. They are not replaceable. My niece and nephew, they're not replaceable. I don't get how people can have loved ones read this story and then as a defense for this story say, well, yeah, but God replaced him and gave him more soul than what he had. I'm not talking about eggs. I'm not talking about furniture. I'm not talking about, you know, baseball cards. I'm talking about a human being, right? Someone who you supposedly love. But that's kind of what they do. A few other people, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, for a minute, I want to focus on three. I guess this is before four people, because they are foundational to the religion and the faith itself. That being Adam, Eve, Noah, and Abraham, and they're foundational to the faith for a variety of reasons. Christians believe, according to the Bible, that Adam and Eve were the first human beings, and that all of us descended through them, except there's another part of it, a couple other parts of it. First of all, um, there are other stories in the Bible, or not in the Bible, but there's other books written that should have been in the Bible that talks about Adam having another wife prior to Eve. And get this, the reason, and her name was um Lethea. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know. My mind is leaving me. But anyway, the reason why you don't have her and you have Eve is because imagine this now, the audacity. Uh, um, uh, Lilith, yeah, she wanted to be equal to Adam, and of course, we can't have that. Not in religion, not God, not Adam. So because she wanted to be equal to Adam, she was sort of written out of the story, right? And so that tells you everything that you need to know about religion, and particularly the Abrahamic faith, because everything just sort of falls in place after that. If I landed on this planet, and this is the first story that I heard, and I heard that she was written out of the story because she wanted to be just equal to Adam. It would tell me everything that I need to know about what's going on, especially in this country. But with the Adam and Eve story, so Adam and Eve had three boys. Don't ask me how we get the rest of us with three boys, unless there is some incest with Eve. But of course, those of you who've brought this up to your Christian friends, you've heard everything like I have from there were other people that just wasn't mentioned that was also created to um, um, it was all right to have sex with your family member at that time to everything else. Again, mental gymnastics, because this shit doesn't make sense whatsoever if you sit back and really think about it. Lilith, yeah, thank you. Lilith is my hero. Should be deemed the first feminist. Absolutely, absolutely. She is the first feminist, strong woman that said no. That's you crazy. At a minimum, we're gonna be equal. And so, Hiram, hello, fam. What's going on? Glad to have you in the land of Nod. Yeah, yeah, right. So, so we hear these things, but that's important because Adam and Eve are the foundation for Christianity from the standpoint of we get, the Garden of Eden, we get the original sin, which is what we're all supposed to be a part of. Imagine, 100 generations ago, someone did something and you are paying for it right now. That's the original sin. We talk. That's where we get the talking snake from. I mean, all of that. The very basis and the very foundation for this religion comes from Adam and Eve. So if you go along and you follow Genesis and the story, you eventually get to Noah and the ark, which I think Taisha said it is hilarious to her. So now check this out. So understand this. So God is upset with his creation, an all-knowing, all-powerful God who understood that all of these things that happened were going to occur. But yet he's like, oh, surprised that Adam and Eve did what they did, and then people after them subsequently did bad things. Cain and Abel, so forth and so on. So God gets upset with the entire planet and says, I'm going to kill, I'm going to murder, I'm going to unalive everybody except a family of 8. Now, Noah has his issues as well. Being a drunkard, there's some other stories. We know about the story of his daughters seeing him naked. I mean, the whole 9 yards, all that kind of stuff. But this is who God decided to save and use to sort of replenish the earth. And then here comes the great flood. Noah is freaking either 600 years old or 900 years old when he supposedly builds this ark. Imagine that. And says, I'm going to take 2 of every animal, which if if you were not indoctrinated with this stuff from birth and you came across this stuff after an age that you were able to think and use ration and be logical and critical thought, you don't even need critical thought. Just be able to think above a 5th grade level. When you hear the story of Noah's Ark and the 2 of every animal in an ark, it should send off alarms in your head. There are so many reasons why this story could not be real, that it is not possible. It baffles my mind why people believe this. You begin with, how do you get all the animals there? What about the animals that were not in the Middle East? How did you have carnivores surviving with herbivores on a ship where the animals are there? Then there's the physical, the tangible stuff, like how do you get rid of the waste? How did the waste? I mean, and I've read, believe it or not, I've read actual science on this stuff, and just the amount of toxins that would have been dispersed out on the ship, on the boat, would have been enough to kill everybody relatively quick. How do you get enough food to feed all of the animals, even the ones that don't eat meat? I mean, how do you? So it's just there are so many things about the story that is absolutely impossible. But thankfully, there is no archaeological evidence that this ever occurred. On top of that, we know that this was stolen from earlier similar stories in much older religions. And so we know that this is where the story came from. But again, this is foundational to the faith. Nor the great ark. I mean, there are people today that still argue that was a great flood. I mean, and so there were, so scientists can go back and say, okay, based on the information that we have, this is the time frame in which this story should have occurred, right? And scientists can also say, historically, factually, evidentiarily, here are societies, excuse me, that existed during this time. And there are several major societies that existed during that time that kept meticulous records of things that went on. And first of all, their civilization, through evidence, continued without a break whatsoever. They existed prior to the Great Flood. They existed alone during the time the Great Flood was supposed to have occurred, and they existed well after without there being a break. That's number one. So we know it did happen because these societies continued to flourish and continue to be what they were. Number two, none of these societies, not one of these societies, wrote about this particular great flood. What most scientists believe about this story, and even the older versions of it, is that many of these societies were, of course, isolated. We didn't have planes, cars, those type of things. And so when they had a local flooding, they believed that it was a worldwide flood because they only knew what they knew that they could see, or areas that they had gone to. For example, if you were in the Middle East and areas in the Middle East flooded, that does not mean that areas in the southern part of Africa or Australia or other parts of Asia, whatever, that the same thing happened. But because you are isolated and you don't know what you don't know there's other civilizations out there, you think that, okay, there's been a great flood. Uh, and that, to me, is even an exaggeration, because these societies continue to flourish and continue to exist even after it was flood. Were there local flooding? Absolutely. I mean, that's historical in every sense of the word. Was there a great flood that covered the entire earth? No. Also, scientists who study this stuff said that it is virtually impossible to have a flood of that magnitude that covers the entire earth. Again, if you know anything about geology, geology and mountains and the evidence that disproves this stuff. I've been to many museums. I've sat in on many presentations about this, and they show us through the science how a great flood could not have happened. And so we know that this did not happen. Let me go back and look at some of the comments. I thank you guys for being exceptionally active today. People said hello. Let's see. Why did he tell? Why did he tell Noah to build? Why was he the chosen vessel? I don't know. I don't know why he picked him out of and his family. Not sure. Maybe I'm just guessing. Maybe he told a lot of people, and Noah was the one who believed him and said, "Well, I'm going to build this boat because God says this is going to happen." How do you know? I mean, God is not coming down in person, I guess. I mean, you getting these voices. So, I mean, it's so much that go on to follow this. But yeah, that's a good question, Amanda. Skid Caesar, what's going on? I don't know if it's your first time. I'm glad to have you. Certainly appreciate it. The number of times God is surprised or disappointed is crazy. Dude, disproportionately. He is all knowing, right? But he's always like, what? That happened? Oh my, really? Oh my God. Pun intended. You mean what? You're right. Like, why is he so surprised so often that stuff happens? And then he get angry. Like, he gets angry and then wants to destroy and kill everything. But you knew this was going to happen. You created this supposedly knowing all this was going to happen. So that's a good point. That's a good point. So there was a meme of a lion walking off the ark saying he had a good meal. Taisha, I shared that about 2 weeks ago. And I even got laughs from Christians on that one. So I saw that. I think I shared that a couple of weeks ago. Madison, common sense. Hey, Sharon, what's going on, Sharon? Glad to have you with us, Sharon. Say hello. Sorry, I'm late. Hello to everyone. Let's see, turkeys on the ark, sure thing. Turkeys, chickens, lions, tigers, bears. What? How did the polar bears get there? Um, how did the penguins get there? It's just this is crazy. But here's what I, in a serious note. Here's what's really amazing about this. We're sitting here laughing about this, right? But a large majority of the people in this country and in the world believe this, right? They believe that this. They either believe it outright, or they believe that it's possible, or they're apathetic to it, and sort of ignore it and push it up under the rug, because they can't figure out an adequate way to defend this. And for those individuals, my question now becomes: that's a foundational piece to your faith. Without that, we're not here, supposedly, if that's what you believe. So you can't sweep it under the rug. But yet people attempt to do that, those who don't want to have a debate about it or don't want to think critically about it. And again, thinking critically is about this kind of stuff is you don't need to be able to think critical. This is common sense. We question everything else. We ask for receipts for everything else, but yet we take this preposterous stories of the Bible and say, yeah. Snakes talk, donkeys fly. A man kills lions with his bare hands. 3 people stand in fire and don't get burned. A man is swallowed by a whale and lives. Spends 3 days in the whale's belly and live. And we as a collective society, we're good with that. We to the point where we want as a collective society, we want to teach this in our schools, especially in the South. And we had a conversation earlier about why I would never move back to the South. But the kind of stuff that it's so incredibly crazy to me. Somebody, let me see, where did we stop at? Polar bears too, yeah. Skid said, yeah. Skid, Amanda said facts, yeah. Then you say, as a Navy veteran, I can confirm that Noah's Ark is pure fiction. It's been disproven so many times because you get these cavalier wannabe archaeologists that go to that region of the world, and they find an old wooden nail or a piece of plaque, and they say, oh, this is part of the ark. And then scientists waste all types of money, reputable scientists waste all types of money to go there to do the investigation, just to say for the umpteenth time, no, this is not Noah's Ark. It did not exist. So yeah, Tages are living in the belly of the whale. Yeah, that's another one of those funny stories. Like, okay, like from a scientific standpoint, that is impossible. There are acids and stuff in the belly of the whale that would kill you instantly, or even before, if you were not chewed up or whatever. There is toxins within the whale that would kill you. And it's a shame that I know so much about this stuff, but I've had to, because this is what I do. And so yeah, Skid said, "Oh, they stories all right. Dancing in a furnace, parting the sea, a tower to heaven, all of that. And so one of the stories that I really became intrigued about early on was the Exodus story, because again, it is one of those things. Oh yeah, I was about to get it. So that was the last one I forgot to mention, Moses. And so we have a movie that we play every year around Easter that talks about Moses, the Ten Commandments, the Exodus story, right? And so it was one of the things, the Exodus story for me as a person deconverting was like heaven and hell to me. It was one of the things that I had to make sure that did not exist, wasn't real, because it was such a fixation in the way I was raised in the church, that it was just everyone just assumed that it was true. And so, in order for me to have a clear conscience with this, along with disproving the existence of the biblical hell and heaven for that matter, I had to deal with the Exodus story. And so, I've done a tremendous amount of research and reading on this. And basically, there is zero evidence that this ever happened. There is zero evidence that Egyptians ever enslaved Hebrews, especially not to those numbers. We're talking a minimum of 600,000 people, upwards of 2 million given the collective family. We also know that Egyptians kept meticulous records. They wrote about everything from what pottery they used, how to make the pottery, which is very mundane, to the extraordinary. And there is absolutely nothing in their historical writings that talks about 600 plus slaves escaping. Absolutely nothing. The research has been done. There are people who have examined the bottom of the Red Sea to absolutely find nothing in relationship to this Exodus story. There is no evidence on the other side. You can imagine that if there are 600,000, upward to 2 million people that made that journey, parted the Red Sea, ended up on the other side, and existed there for a while, there would be some type of evidence left, and there is absolutely nothing. And so I'm here to tell you there is no archaeological evidence, not only of the Exodus story, but of Moses himself. And so again, that is another foundational piece in the faith. So if I were deconverting and I couldn't prove that Moses existed, that the Exodus was a real story, Adam and Eve existed, Noah or Abraham, who, by the way, is the father of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, that there is no evidence that this person existed. Isaac or Ishmael for you Muslims out there. There is zero archaeological, objective, testable, provable evidence that any of these people ever existed. And so bells should go off in your head about all of that. Some of the comments, and I love the comments, guys. Let's see, where do we stop at? I know my computer's not doing this to me. Let's see. Battle of the Well, stories, dancing. Let's see. We stopped at Taisha. Taisha said, tidbit, there's a so-called attraction called Noah's Ark off of I-75 in Kentucky. I'll go to Busch Garden. Yeah, I forgot the guy's name who put it up. I think it's their 10-year anniversary now or something like that. The Ark, I have read information about people who've, non-Christians, non-believers, who've gone in there. One of the things that I find amazing, the things that I've heard, is that in the Ark actually says that humans and dinosaurs actually existed at the same time, lived at the same time. If you know anything about the human history of this planet, dinosaurs died out about 65 million years ago. The oldest humans are about 2.5 million years old. The oldest modern humans, Homo sapiens, are about 250,000 years old. So we're talking, at a minimum, there's a 63 million year difference. And so it is crazy that this Ark has done this, and that people actually go and believe this, which is even more amazing. Let's see, Tasia said the Rugrats made an Easter episode about Moses. Watching it as an adult showed me I'll never let my daughter watch it. Never. Yeah, I bet that was funny. Amanda says there's a story on Shade Room of a guy standing in the ocean with a rod in his hand, saying that he's about to part the sea. Wait, Amanda. I think I saw this. It looked like it may have been in Africa, and the guy. He has sort of a rod, and he steps out like he's stepping out into the ocean, right? And then the waves are coming, so he runs back and almost falls or whatever. I think I saw that. So that's hilarious, right? And the people are, I mean, people are starting to laugh with it, but it's really funny if that's the same one. Um, let's see. Amanda said, Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. Absolutely. Let's see. Ty, I am so serious. I'm telling you, but it is funny. Amanda said 65 million years. Yep. Yes, humans and dinosaurs did coexist on the Flintstones. That is the only place. Neo, what's going on? Listen, now, this is a better day. I have both Taisha and Neo X on the same show here today. What did I do to deserve this? What's going on, Neo? We are glad to have you. I need to mark this day down. But glad to have you, Neo. We're talking about characters in the Bible that never existed. Skid Caesar says, to quote Bob Dylan, God said to Abraham, kill me as son. Abe said, man, you must be putting me on. God said, no. Abe said, what? God said, you can't do what you want. But the next time you see me, I'm coming. Listen, so the story of Abraham, which is, I literally had a full out debate, argument in grad school as I was working on my master's in religious studies about this story. So we talk about Abraham and how he took. It depends on where you fall. Either you're Islam or you're a Christian. So it's either Isaac or Ishmael, right? That's the split. That's the whole thing. Takes him to the top, and he is told by God that he should sacrifice his son. And so he gets to the top and he ties the son up, young son up, and he's getting ready to stab him or whatever. And then God intervenes and said, no, 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 don't do it. So my first point of contention here is I don't have any kids, but I have a sister who I love, a mother who I love, and a niece and nephew who I love most of the time. Uh, and there isn't anything that anybody would tell me in my head that would make me sacrifice or kill them. That's the first thing. I don't care what it is. I no. Um, Secondly, I have heard people, and this was even in grad school, I've heard people try to defend this in two ways. The first is if the story was about having faith in God, knowing that God was not going to allow you to go through with this. Why would you say God wouldn't allow you to go through with this? God has a kill rate in the Bible of 2 million plus. There are people who've studied this and came to the conclusion that God is responsible for killing 2 million plus people throughout the Bible, while the devil is responsible for killing about 10 people. There's research that people have actually done on this stuff. So why would you not think that God would allow this to happen when when God himself killed every firstborn in Egypt, every child, every baby? Why would you not think that? So that's part of it. Secondly, I've heard people say that Abraham knew that God was going to stop him. That somehow God told Abraham that this was not going to go through. He was not going to have to go through with this. Which again is people doing mental gymnastics to make this shit make sense, because it doesn't. But here's a point that many people miss out on. Let's just suppose this thing really happened, right? What do you think is the mental state of Isaac or Ishmael at this point? My father is going to kill me and going to sacrifice me because he's heard some voices in his head. You think that they had a good relationship after that? So again, this is a crazy story. Let's see. Taisha said, Neo said, hey, what's up, at Neo? Skid said, you better run. Yeah, the kid. Neo and Taisha say, hey to each other. Glad to have you both on here again. So much love. Neo say, now Taisha, the girl, she's surgical with it. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Both of you are, though. Both of you all are brutal when people don't come right, when people come incorrect, and I love it. Let's see. Amanda said, facts. The biggest murderer. God is the biggest murderer. I mean, just the flood. Sodom and Gomorrah, Exodus. I mean, just on and on. All of the wars that God instructed and had the enemies of his people killed, and allowed his people to take the virgin girls to do as they please, while telling the soldiers to kill the non-virgin girls and everyone else that survived that wasn't part of the war. This is multiple stories in the Bible, if you know your Bible. Not to mention, God sending the bears to attack 42 kids and kill them because one of the kids called the guy bald. I mean, this stuff goes on and on and on and on. And so when we talk about modern day today, what's going on and how supposedly Christian nationalists and some of those people can act the way they act. I told someone the other day on social media, they're just following the instructions and the lead of their God, right? Because it's not my God. It shouldn't be your God, but their God, and they're just following the lead. So they're comfortable with annihilating others who they don't consider to be part of their crew. So if you're not a Christian, if you're not heterosexual, if you're not white, if you're not part of the patriarch, then I always say that word wrong. But anyway, you guys understand. Then you are other, and so they're following the lead of their deity from their faith and their religion, because after all, God killed all of these people. And so those people feel like it's all right because God did it. That's why they have a problem with denouncing these things in the Bible. And it's why they do mental gymnastics to try to make this stuff make sense. Let me see. What did I miss? Let's see. There's an argument that God is really the devil. Amanda said there's an argument that God is really the devil and the devil is much funnier than we give him credit for. I don't doubt that. Absolutely. I have no doubt about that. He is misogynist and he hates women. That man is not my father. He is extremely misogynistic. Women were property, especially in the Old Testament. Throughout the Bible, they were nothing but property. If a man raped a woman, all he had to do was pay her father a certain amount of money, and the woman belonged to him. Ironically, some of the greatest so-called characters in the Bible, David and some of the other ones, were able to have concubines, but not once that I have ever read in the Bible where the woman was able to have more than one man. Women have been stoned to death for being promiscuous, right? Having sex with multiple men or whatever in the Bible. But you never hear anything about the men. What happened to the men? Do they? And so when we see a lot of this stuff, especially in the Muslim faith in these Middle Eastern countries, where they are very strict according to the Bible, they are fundamentalists. We see a lot of this, and this stuff is directly from the Bible and their interpretation. And so it is extremely dangerous. And so us as a country, the U.S., we are headed down that road. We are paralleling Sharia law in Christian law, or at least that's what many people in this country want to do. And so, yeah, so it is sad. Let's see. Skid Caesar said the same crowd that wants you to read the Bible literally is the same people who will concoct this. Well, Abraham knew blah, 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 but it doesn't say that at all. It's nowhere in there. It doesn't say that at all. This is stuff that they make up. Again, Skid, they make this stuff up because if they're thinking with their minds, this stuff really doesn't make sense. And so they have to make up something because they're not going to go. Listen, there's this guy on social media. He's a pastor, a black guy, brother. We got into a discussion. We got to talk about slavery. And I'm telling you, like he's on point about everything else when it comes to discrimination, racism, all this stuff. He's quick to be out there. And so we agree on most of that stuff, right? And so we got a discussion about it. He's a pastor. We got a discussion. And I asked him, I say, was slavery in the Bible right? This brother refused to say that slavery was wrong. I asked him multiple ways. I gave him every chance to recant, to even to say and give an explanation. The brother, and finally he flat out said, "No, I'm just not. I'm not going to." And I said, "You've lost all credibility with me because it's something in your faith that will not allow you, as a black man, to say that owning other human beings, I don't care where, when, under whatever context, that is wrong, because it is absolutely wrong." And so he just refused, and he wouldn't say it. So the mental gymnastics by Christians to make this stuff make sense, even when it doesn't surprise me, because they've been doing it forever. And when I was a part of the faith, I saw it firsthand. I hope that I didn't sound like that or do anything like that, but maybe I did at some point. And finally, Amanda said he's also jealous of women. My mama gave birth to me. I don't need to be born again by him. It's giving straight hater vibes. And so this lets you know that all of this stuff is man-made. And when I say man, I'm not talking about humanity. I'm talking about MAN. Everything we know from a cultural standpoint, from a historical standpoint, all this stuff was created by men. A lot of it was to make women act a certain way. All of that. The things that they despise and that they hate, or that they don't understand, all became wrong or sin or whatever. All of this is man-made, M-A-N, not humanity, but man. I say Prince, Ochi, concubines. Yeah, all of that. Beautiful stated, Amanda. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Amanda. Neo says, shaking my head, can't even be honest. No, it couldn't. And he lost every bit of, I mean, it's not like he had a lot, because, well, let me not say that, because one of the greatest men that I know, he's a mentor of mine. He's a pastor, but he's different. I mean, he's just different. But I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say that. But all of that went away when he refused to do something. This is low-hanging fruit. Because you say that owning another human being is wrong, shouldn't strip you of being a Christian. It's facts. No human being should own another human being. Period. I don't care when, where, how it happens. No. But again, this guy refused to acknowledge that, and so we are at time. But I appreciate all of the comments, all of you for being extremely active today. Thank you so much. It makes my job a lot easier. It makes it very much more interesting. And so thank you. As I said before, I am not taking a summer break, because this is what I will be doing for the foreseeable future, part of my overall mix of things I will be doing. So we're going to try to be here every other week. We may miss a week or so because of trips and vacations, but I appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much. So great to see Taisha, Neo X, the rest of you, Amanda, Skid, thank you for being here. Taisha said that was great. Thank you so much. Did you change your live date? I don't. It may have been it may have been on Thursdays at one point, but I was doing some substitute teaching for a while, and I can't remember if I did change it. I changed it to Wednesday, so it's Wednesday now. I'm going to try to keep it at Wednesdays because I like to keep things consistent. I am a very regimented person. I usually start this thing right on time. That's just who I am. Amanda said this was so good. It was family reunion. Yes, it was. Thank you guys so much. Again, Skid, Amanda, Taisha, Neo. Let's see who else. Who did I miss? Some earlier people I know that was first. Oh, Sharon was on here. Thank you so much, Sharon. Let's see, who did I miss? There was a couple other people. But Henrim 9348. I don't know if it's your first time, but thank you so much. If it's not your first time, I apologize. But thank you for being here. Thank all of you for being on here and making this an excellent, exciting show. Tell your friends, Texas Goddess, thank you as well. Evelyn Paula 1747. Thank you so much. Just thank you to all of you. Certainly appreciate it. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks. And this was an awesome, awesome show. I think I got one last comment. Oh, see y'all. Okay, yeah. See y'all next time. Absolutely. You bought the potato salad.